you always think about all the things like what will go wrong if I do this. And so just ask yourself, what if it went right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Carganilla Online Variety Entertainment Podcast. Here's your host, Paul Carganilla.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Carganilla Online Variety Entertainment Podcast, or COVE Podcast, a new weekly variety show. I am your host, Paul Carganilla, and this is a podcast in which my friends and I will fill your podcast feed with a wide variety of entertainment offerings and discussions about topics in hopes to inspire and enrich your life as you go about your day-to-day. I also like to note that the audio from each episode is actually pulled from a YouTube live stream on the Vodacity Network YouTube channel. So if you'd like to actually watch the show, the video version is available as well. The link to that is in the show notes. I consider myself so blessed in this COVE community to be surrounded by amazing performers who are also just absolutely awesome human beings. And I'm excited to introduce you to three more of these amazing humans today, as this podcast is still a new journey for us. Today, we're going to be discussing the topic of saying yes to new opportunities and how stretching your comfort bubble can really change your life in positive ways. When you're open to new adventures, just how valuable that can be to your experience here on Earth as you live this life. With that, I want to introduce our guests today. Of course, we'll bring in producer Craig first, actually. Hello, Craig Jackman, producer of COVE Podcast.
Hello,
Welcome.
Paul Carganilla. I love what today is going to be all about, too.
And let's bring in our other guests for today. Actually, let's bring in not our other guests, as Craig is not a guest, but our guests for today. Please join me in welcoming Amanda Benjamin and our friends Mike and Nicole Pierce. Welcome to COVE
Our adventurers.
Podcast.
Yes. So excited to be here.
So excited
Same.
to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes. I'm just so thrilled and honored that you're jumping on with us to talk about this topic today, because it's so important as we live our lives to be open, to try new experiences, and just to have the courage to say yes sometimes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, we're going to do some introductions. Now, I warned them about this thing that we do on the show, which is tell me everything about your life in 60 seconds or less. So they've had time to think about it.
Oh, no.
What?
But
I was not told any of this.
I was not aware.
You've had days. Come on. But who's the brave soul that wants to go first?
I'm going to step up.
Oh,
Yes.
look at you.
That's what we call chivalry. Right there. Mike Pierce.
The answer is yes.
Opening the door for the two ladies.
That's right. I, of course, will like to inform or just give everybody a little insight on how I know you before I give you your 60 seconds. But Mike and Nicole Pierce here actually hired me to DJ their wedding back in what year?
2016.
Yes.
7 years ago. Well, coming up on 7 years in August.
Very cool. And
Crazy.
we stayed in touch. We were Facebook friends, and I had seen Nicole posted a video of her playing guitar one day on her Facebook, and that was during COVID when we were doing the Vodacity Network stuff. And I reached out to Nicole. I had no idea Mike played or sang, so I reached out to Nicole and I said, hey, would you be willing to come on this crazy live podcast? Sorry, I haven't talked to you in like 5 years, but not podcast, but this live stream that we do on YouTube, and perform a song for us. And she
Said yes.
said yes. Perfect segue. And I'm so glad you guys are here for that reason, not just that reason, many other reasons, but I gave Mike enough time to think about his 60-second intro. Are you ready, sir?
As ready as I'll ever be.
And 3, 2, 1.
All right. So I grew up in Litchfield, Minnesota, a very small town in central Minnesota, a population of 6,500 people. I lived there until I graduated high school. Picked up a guitar at the age of 16 along with my cousin, who is my best friend growing up. We're also neighbors. We started playing guitar together, and over the next 2 to 3 years, we would play at bars and restaurants around our hometown, and kind of had a lot of fun doing that. After high school, I moved from my small town, Minnesota, to Santa Barbara, California, where I spent the next 3 years. I went to Santa Barbara City College, met just a lot of great people who I'm still really good friends with today, a lot of talented musicians that I was inspired and had a great time playing music with while I was there. After a few years in Santa Barbara, initially I was a film major. Well, that was my intent when I moved out to California. That's how I convinced my parents to let me come out here. But I decided that that wouldn't be the direction I would end up going, and did a complete 180 and decided to switch to economics as my major and transferred to Cal State Long Beach to finish up my degree. And about a year after I was transferred over to Long Beach, I happened to sit down in one of my classes day one next to this beautiful girl here who is now my wife. So we met back in 2014 and got married in 2016, and it's been the best thing ever for me in my life to have Nicole here with me. 2017, we were both graduated from college. We were working different jobs that we weren't too happy with and decided that we wanted to do some traveling. So that was a big part of my life. We spent almost a year doing road trip throughout the whole United States. We traveled to India and Peru, and just had the time of our lives. And when we got back from that, we decided instead of working for someone else, we were going to try to do our own thing, and got our real estate license, and I've been a real estate agent team over the past, let's say, 4 years now. So that's been a big part of our lives. And the best thing to happen to us was October of 2021, our son was born, our first baby. His name is Benjamin, and he's the love of our lives. And that's where we're at today. We love playing music. We don't really do much professionally, but we love doing these shows with everyone online, and we're so happy to be a part of this community and to meet everyone here.
Wonderful. 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
That was so long.
It felt like 60 seconds.
So long.
I thought that was actually amazing.
Well,
Goodness.
I feel like the natural thing is to just go to the seat next to you for the next one and learn about your beautiful bride there.
Oh, thank you.
Are you ready?
No, but I'm going to do it anyway. I
right.
She said
apologize.
yes. She said
I
yes.
said yes. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. We'll hear that in 3, 2.
All right. My name is Nicole Pierce, previously known as Nicole Vlasoff, before I married Mike over here. I was born to international parents. I was born in South America to a Peruvian mom, Canadian dad, and my dad worked in the United Nations. So growing up, I moved a lot. Right after I was born, a month after I was born, we moved to Costa Rica. 6 months later, New York, which was kind of our home base for maybe 10 years. And then we moved to India for a couple of years, moved to Vancouver for my high school, and then came to California for my senior year of high school. So I've been in California ever since. Moving around was tough, but it was also personally a joy of mine, and it made me, it's a huge part of my life, and it kind of made me the person I am because I love traveling and meeting people and seeing new cultures, and I think that's kind of ingrained in who I am. So anyway, moving along, I ended up going to Cal State Long Beach. I met Mike there, and we both studied economics, and you kind of heard, the rest of the story with what Mike said. But I did want to mention that I picked up a guitar when I was 15 years old. We always had a guitar lying around the house because my mom played guitar growing up. But I didn't really have an interest in it until I was about 15. And then I decided that I wanted my own guitar. So I bought a guitar with my family, and it's still the guitar that I play with today. And at that time, I was also, really looking into songwriting, and that kind of became a passion of mine. And through my college days, I wrote a lot, but it was always alone. So anyway, moving forward, now that we're part of the Vaudacity Network and everything, I've been more inspired to collaborate with others, and that's kind of my new journey now in terms of music. A side note is I've been singing at my church for the last 11 years. I sing and play guitar, and that's a big part of my life as well. And as Mike had mentioned, Benjamin is the light of our lives. That's our son. He is 1.5, and we love him very much.
Beautiful. 235.
Ooh. Nice.
Better than Mike.
Well, you said a lot of like our personal life, so I kind of was like,
true.
okay,
You
I don't
guys-
have to say like the latter part of our lives.
So we have to add like 30 seconds to Nicole's time.
Exactly.
Wow, I had no idea like that international lifestyle you grew up in.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very
I actually became American in 2015, which is kind of funny because my dad worked for the United Nations, so we had a visa, and then basically just held on to I was Canadian, my whole family held Canadian citizenship, and then when my dad took retirement, they were like, okay, your visa is no longer active, and now you have to go back to Canada. And my dad had left Canada when he was in his early 20s, so we were like, where do we go? And we went to the warmest part of Canada, which is Vancouver. And and then he was doing a lot of consultant work with organizations in the US and got sponsored through one of those jobs down the line. And then we got to choose wherever we wanted to live in the US. So naturally, Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing and so interesting. I for one, well, I'm sure Mike is too, but I'm glad you guys ended up down here. And so I was able to meet you, and you two are just such special people. And that is something that I'm just so happy and just so blessed with the community that has come together here. And just everyone is just such amazing people. And
We agree. We love you and everyone.
hearing you and your husband perform together, it's such an amazing thing. And I know very soon Benjamin's going to get in on it, and we'll have some Pierce trio music coming straight from your home. But let's go ahead and dive in before we meet Amanda to a little bit of music, as we just met Mike and Nicole. They're going to perform a couple tunes here together today. And when you heard about the theme, what tunes came to your mind?
Well, we're going to start with mine, so I'll let Nicole talk about hers when her turn comes up. But
Yeah.
For mine, I went with one that I've just been playing for a long time, and it's a song by the White Stripes called We Are Going to Be Friends. And Jack Johnson also does a cover of it. I think that's kind of when I first got really into it. It was on the Curious George soundtrack. And I think it fits with the theme because it talks about childhood and meeting friends, going to school on the first day of class, and how that becoming close with someone. And I think that just kind of goes with, as a kid, you're kind of more open-minded to different experiences, maybe because you haven't faced rejection in the past, so you're kind of just more open to meeting new people and saying yes to having relationships start with people as friendships. So that's kind of where this came from for me. I also like it. It talks about sitting next to each other in class, and when Nicole and I met, we sat next to each other in class. So that kind of tied in with my story too.
Perfectly.
Side note, he played this song to Benjamin yesterday, and Benjamin loved it. So it's another bonus.
It's a really great song. I cannot wait to hear this because I love this song.
Meant to be.
So let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, performing live on COVE podcast for the first time, Mike and Nicole Pierce.
Fall is here, hear the yell. Back to school, ring the bell. Brand new shoes, walking blues. Climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We can rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound. Well, here we are, no one else. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. Yeah, we clean up and now it's time to learn. Numbers, letters, learn to spell. Nouns and books and show and tell. Playtime we will throw the ball. Back to class, through the hall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. Yeah, the teacher marks our height against the wall. And we don't notice any time pass. And we don't notice anything. We sit side by side in every class. The teacher thinks that I sound funny, but she likes it when you sing. Tonight I'll dream in my bed while silly thoughts run through my head of the bugs and alphabet. And when I wake tomorrow I'll bet you and I will walk together again. 'Cause I can tell that we are gonna be friends. 'Cause I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
Perfect song for you two. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike and Nicole Pierce performing We Are Gonna Be Friends by the White Stripes. Oh, that was awesome.
I could see the two of you holding hands in the classroom without those words. Very
Walking
easily.
to school. I mean, you don't really walk to school, I guess, so much in college, but definitely once we got to know each other and we had that class together, we would every day after class we would walk and go to the go get coffee or go to the library, and it was always so much fun. Just during those times, everything is so new and just getting to know each other.
And it was our last semester before we graduated. It was pretty awesome. It was just like meant to be, I think. I know.
It's like somebody wanted it to happen. Wow, that was so great, and I was just picturing that, like you guys walking together hand in hand, but also just singing it to your son. Like that is so sweet. Where'd Amanda go? She ditched us. There she.
I'm here.
She was trying
I
to
did
get
not.
out of
I was
her-
listening, but I had a carrot, and I thought it would be really rude to have carrot sounds on your podcast.
That is a loud vegetable.
Well, she has chewed on enough carrots to stall long enough. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Amanda Benjamin's turn to tell you all about herself. Everything you could possibly know about Amanda Benjamin in 60 seconds or less. And 3, 2, 1.
All right. I will just hit whatever I think of as it comes to me. I consider myself a musician. As long as I can remember, I always say one of my earliest memories is like sitting in a room listening to the Beatles. I've known them longer than I actually can remember. I've known their music. And I laugh and I still feel guilty to this day. My dad always tells me that when I was in the crib, my dad would try to sing to me and I'd go, "Daddy, stop. No." Because my poor dad will admit to you that my dad has a very hard time holding pitch. So I'd be like, "Daddy, stop singing." So it's like, I guess that's, normal for a toddler to do, but I still feel guilty to this day. But yes, I've always been singing. I always knew the Beatles. Yeah, even growing up, my favorite movie was Yellow Submarine. We used to watch it all the time. And Love that movie. Let's see. I was a drum major in high school. Was in the drama group. Yeah. Parade drum major. Did a parade in Washington D.C. for 4th of July, which was awesome. And we did that, and then we did the normal ones at school too. And then let's see what else happened in my life. I went to UC Davis, was a music major, went in as biological studies, but just couldn't stop with music. Like I couldn't put it aside, couldn't put it out. It was more important to me than everything else. And so I decided just do that instead. It's what I was interested in. I studied psychology too, as well as Spanish. Those are kind of my three major, not my majors, but the three major things that I studied. I also did like a lot of, there were classes that were like such and such in society, which I always love those too, those social programs. Very interested in that too. Then in college, I did music lessons kind of on the side just for a little experience. And then after college, moved down here. I had met David in my senior year of college, my husband David, in my senior year of college at a chance meeting at a alumni chorus event. And then moved down here and started working for this company that placed you in schools. And that's how I started teaching in schools. Did that ever since. It's always been my steady job. I love working with kids. I think they're incredible. They can do amazing things. I think we underestimate what they can do because they're, again, incredible. And I never want to treat children like little kids because they're way more than that. And so I love teaching them and watching them grow from these little tiny preschoolers into these middle schoolers and then see them off. And it's like the saddest day of my life, like today when I say goodbye to them. And then I always keeping up doing musicals or, these kind of shows. And all of that. The passion. We do a podcast now, the Paul and I together. Magical Mystery Hour, which is my other most favorite thing in the world, which is all like the mysteries in life, whether it's ghosts or conspiracy theories or urban legends or UFOs, whatever it is, all those things that we just can't quite explain what's going on. Those are, all the passions of my life swept into how long?
3 minutes and 32 seconds. Did great.
That's pretty awesome. Good job.
And you mentioned the Magical Mystery Hour podcast that we co-host. Yeah. So podcast listeners out there, if you're into mysteries, find that. Hosted by Paul Carganilla and Amanda Benjamin. We mix mysteries with live music, kind of like this podcast. But you also host your own show called Amanda on Demanda on the Vaudacity Network. Tell us about that show.
So much fun. We had the Vaudacity Network and doing the picnics, and then was it the 1 year anniversary we started adding? Paul was like, hey, it's just some of the regulars. You guys, we love what you do. Do you want to do your own show? And I was like, yes, it's a full request show every week. And what I decided to do, since I don't like making decisions or set lists, is put them all on a wheel and just see what happens. So that's how Amanda on Demanda was born.
That's amazing. You've done 116 of these shows, and you haven't missed a week.
I know, it's shocking.
Before we hear the song that you have brought to the pod today, I will just say that Amanda and I met because she said yes and was willing to take a new journey and push a little bit of her comfort bubble and embark on a new adventure. We mentioned how I met Darren through an online talent show, and that's where we met Amanda too. Amanda was a competitor in this virtual
into the final round. I had made a post, I think on, I forget if it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and about saying, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to figure out how to keep creating art in this weird new landscape. And then that competition came out, and then you messaged me, and it was really tempting just to go like, I don't know this person, I'm just going to let this message go. But I was like, I just said I would do something, so I'm going to do it.
Perfect timing. So on this virtual talent show, Amanda and my wife Jamie were in the final round. Obviously, I was exposed to Amanda's work and her skill, and sent her a random Facebook message. Just found her on Facebook and sent her, and those usually get filtered out and people never see them. But
yeah, I don't know how I saw it, but I did.
I said, "Hey, I think you're a great singer. I run this weekly variety show that's live on YouTube. Would you be willing to hop on and perform?" And she said,
yes.
We'll talk a little bit after your song about how just saying that yes has formed the life that you're living today.
Absolutely.
But let's hear what you've brought to perform for the podcast.
All right. This is a great song for this theme. It's about your heart's telling you one thing and you're like, I can't trust my heart. No way. And eventually your heart's like, hey, I'm going to, this is what I'm looking for. And you can say, no, all you want. But you should really be listening to your heart a little more.
Love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, who originally did this song?
It's a KT Tunstall.
KT Tunstall's Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, as performed on COVE podcast by Amanda Benjamin.
1, 2, 3, 4. My heart knows me better than I know myself, so I'm gonna let her do all the talking. And I came across a place in the middle of nowhere with a big black horse and a cherry tree. And I felt a little fear upon my back. I said, don't look back, just keep on walking. Big black horse said, look this way. He said, hey there, baby, will you marry me? But I said, no. I said, no, you're not the one for me. No. I said, no, you're not the one for me. Heart hit a problem in the early hours, so I stopped it dead for a beat or two. But I cut some cord and I shouldn't have done it, and it won't forgive me after all these years. So I sent it to a place in the middle of nowhere with a big black horse and a cherry tree. Come back, cause it's all so happy, and now I got a hope for the world to see. But it said no. I said no, you're not the one for me. No. I said no, you're not the one for me. No, you're not the one for me. No, you're not the one for me. Big black horse and a cherry tree. I can't quite get there cause my heart's forsaken me. Yeah. Big black horse and a cherry tree. I can't quite get there cause my heart's forsaken me. Yes.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and jump back to I wanted to talk about because it's how we met. You taking a chance and saying yes on something that was, I don't know, you weren't too sure about, but it seemed like something that was in the vein of what you wanted to do, and the timing was just perfect, I guess, of you putting out this post. But how has that one yes shaped your life today?
Oh my God, it's changed my whole entire life, honestly. A lot. I'll give you some of the highlights. One is I am a big perfectionist in my music. I hate anything that is not perfection. I think it's only when I do it. I'm talking about myself. I'm the person who's like, well, I missed that. Like when I just did that, I did not hit that B7 chord perfectly, so this whole thing is trash. You know, that's me, and I would not want to put stuff out there if it wasn't perfection. And then doing these live shows, it's like, no, that's just what happens. Like, even if you practice something to death and you get it to a place of perfection, once you do it live, it might not be, and it's not something to throw away, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
And it's definitely just changed like my whole outlook on me and myself as a performer. You know, I'm trying to transition that into my own whole self as well, because it's really easy to do that to yourself. And so, and that's because of that, because I was like, well, I got to do these shows live, and I have a week to learn something, and it's not going to be that. I don't have 3 months to sit there and do this, and it's okay. So it's been nice to give myself permission to, not be perfect. So that's huge.
And not just your view of self, but your weekly schedule. You've
yes,
done,
that too.
You hosting your own shows 116 weeks in a row. Your husband's hosting shows. Yeah. Oh, it's so fun to watch the journey.
Thank you.
And Mike, Nicole Pierce, I know they have another tune for us, but can you think of other ways other than when you met and committing, taking a new journey with a new partner in life, but other ways that saying yes or just being open to new opportunities has really shaped your life?
I don't know if this really answers your question, but something that I was thinking about saying earlier was that when Mike and I first met, we actually played a lot of music together. Like the very first time that we hung out at your place, we were both playing guitar and discovering that we both have a passion for music. And that was a big part of our relationship at the start. And, the first few years of us being together, we really played a lot more music. And then, life happens and work. And as time went on, we were kind of playing a lot less. And, we accepted it. We were just tired all the time. But I think with the pandemic and you asking us to join Polly's Picnic, it was a great opportunity for us to just start playing music again.
The other side of saying yes to something is having someone, ask a question. And got to give big props to Paul for starting this whole thing and for reaching out to us and asking, do you want to be a part of this? Because it's, to say yes to something, it might be kind of challenging to do, but even to reach out to someone that you haven't talked to in 4 or 5 years to ask, hey, I know we haven't talked for 4 or 5 years, but I'm doing this show and would you want to be a part of it? That's kind of scary to do too, because there's something that creeps into your mind of rejections, and what if they say no? I mean, are they going to think it's weird that I'm asking them this? But thanks for doing that. And I think that's really awesome to be able to bring people together like that. And I'm always very thankful for that, for what you started here. So thank you.
I'm grateful for you, and thank you for saying that. But like I say to people all the time, it can be scary and intimidating to ask, but what's the worst that can happen, and what's the best that can happen if you don't ask? Even in the worst case scenario, if you ask somebody to be a part of something you're doing, you're not hurting anybody by asking. And we just, sometimes this could be the topic of a whole other episode, but just having the courage to ask, check the water, see how it feels. And that can open so many doors too. And that process has brought the three of you into my life, and I couldn't be more happy about that. And before we enjoy some poetry from Mr. Craig Jackman, we have another tune from the Pierce. We decided that the plural of Pierce is Pierce before the show started rolling. So, Mike and Nicole, what other tune did you choose for this theme, and why?
Ooh, okay. So when we heard the theme was going to be saying yes, immediately we thought of the song called "Say Yes" by one of my favorite artists, Elliott Smith. And really the song, I was kind of researching it, but it is kind of obvious, it's about a breakup. So it doesn't really, maybe it could go with the theme in its own way, but like all music, you can interpret it your own way. And I kind of look at it as me saying yes to going back into my songwriting and saying yes to music, because I didn't mention this earlier, but my father passed away actually the year that we got married in 2016, but he was my best friend, and he always encouraged me to sing, whether it was at church or just at home and with my songwriting and stuff. And he actually bought me this condenser microphone, all my equipment. He really supported my YouTube channel, and every time I wrote a song, he was the first person I would go to. So, and then he would, stop whatever he was doing if he was working and really just listen. And anyway, once he passed away, it was devastating for so many reasons. But yeah, I think my music really was affected by it. And it's even now, it's been almost 7 years, and it's hard for me to just take the time to sit down and write like I used to. Also just because we're so busy with everything and little Benjamin and stuff. So there's a lot of good distractions, but I think, joining the network and really trying to say yes to anything that involves music is slowly helping me heal, and I'm hoping that I can go back there and start writing more frequently like I used to.
I hope so too. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, this is Say Yes by Elliott Smith.
As performed by Mike and Nicole Pierce.
I'm in love with the world through the eyes of a girl who's still around the morning after. We broke up a month ago. I grew up, I didn't know I'd be around the morning after. It's always been wait and see, a happy day and then you pay and feel like shit the morning after. But now I feel changed around, and instead of falling down, I'm standing up the morning after. Situations get fucked up, but turned around sooner or later. I could be another fool or an exception to the rule. You tell me the morning after. Crooked spin can't come to rest. I'm damaged, bad at best. She'll decide what she wants. I'll probably be the last to know. No one says until it shows. See how it is. They
Awesome job. Beautiful performance, you two. Thank you.
So gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love the poetry of that too. Like when I find songs that I love, that is one common theme. Like my favorite songs have this like deep poetry in them that you just connect to, and I really like that one.
And once again, that was Elliott Smith, Say Yes, as performed by Mike and Nicole Pierce. All right, we've reached the poetry part of the podcast, and we love to feature the poetic interpretive skills of Mr. Craig Jackman. And Craig, when you saw the theme of this episode, what jumped to your mind poetry-wise?
Well, just motivation, anything motivation-wise that gets you to get out of your box, to get you to do things, to say yes. Everyone has touched on it today, but you ask the question, what is on the other side of fear? Positive things. Do that thing that you might be slightly scared of, because you never know what is going to happen. And I think Mike said it. It's like, just do it. And don't regret that you've done it. In fact, Paul, when you said to me for one of the picnics, just do stand up. You were asking me to try it, and I was like, I don't know. I did it, and it was because of that encouragement. It really opened up something new to me in doing improv. And okay, I respect every stand-up comedian that's out there. But to try something new and say, at least I did it, and I walked away with my head high, not looking back, saying, I wonder what would happen if I didn't do it.
There's a million different possibilities, outcomes, anytime you take a risk. And I think that the chances of it being rewarded in a positive manner far outweigh the alternative. If you don't even try it and you don't even know, that is such an important aspect of life, I think. And we've talked about it in previous episodes. Like, who wants to reach the end, be on their proverbial deathbed and think, oh, why didn't I just try that?
Yeah, I try to think that all the time when I, is this something I'm really gonna wish I did or didn't do? The other thing, I can't remember. I feel like it was on a TV show, but I have no idea where it came from. Somebody said, you always think about all the things like, what will go wrong if I do this? And so just ask yourself, what if it went right?
Exactly.
Try to flip that. What would happen if this went right? And try to, flip the narrative, and it just can change your whole outlook.
Like reaching out and asking a question. What if they say no? What if they say yes? Look at how much
you guys are segueing right into my poem for today.
Let's hear it. What is it?
Oh, well. Okay. I don't know who the author is.
Okay.
It came from hellopoetry.com. And the title of this poem is, What Would Happen If I Said Yes?
Wow. This is from an unknown author. It's called What Would Happen If I Said Yes, as interpreted live on COVE Podcast by Craig Jackman.
What would happen if today I said yes? What would happen if, for once, I stopped running away and from, but after and to? What would happen if I embraced my dark shadow and began to accept all of me, light and dark, bad and good? Could I be whole once more? Could you love me? Could I love me? What would happen if today I said yes? I wouldn't be the same. Once taken, there is no going back. What would happen if at the edge of the known and the not known, I close my eyes brace myself, and take a leap of faith. What would happen if I opened myself up to your will and your plan? What would happen if you reached out your hand? I would never need to be afraid or be truly alone because you are here. What would happen if today I said yes? What would happen if I prayed more, if I gave more? How much more would my life be blessed than it already is now? What would happen if I said yes to you and no to my desires? There will be pain, but I will feel real joy, peace, and satisfaction. What would happen if today I said yes? Saying yes is dangerous. It is not something to be taken lightly, for it is not without pain, tears, suffering, and hard times. But saying yes means that I will grow, learn to truly love, and never be alone. Saying yes means becoming who I'm meant to be and being a man after your heart. What would happen if today I said yes? What would happen today if I said yes? Saying yes is the first step on a long and winding journey. I have said yes. I have taken the path less traveled on. And that has made all the difference.
That was beautiful.
I mean, if we said, can you encapsulate what we're trying to capture in this episode in a 3-minute poem?
That would be.
Seriously.
That was right on and perfect and perfectly executed and interpreted by Craig Jackman. Thank you, Craig.
I think I need that on a poster.
That's what I wrote in the chat. I
Oh,
was
really?
I was like, I need to print this out and post it somewhere that I'm gonna walk by and see it all the time, because
Yes.
it's so hard to, or it's so easy rather to think the other way. But yeah,
It really does encapsulate this show and what we've been talking about and what people think about, do I or do I not take the step? And I love the way, even more, that it ends with another poem, another famous poem.
Right. For anyone who missed the first episode of this podcast, I had the pleasure of interpreting Robert Frost's famous work, The Road Not Taken. That was a perfectly integrated there, Craig. Little throwback to episode 1. Love it. To close out the podcast episode today, I'm going to do a little tune about having the courage to follow your heart and saying yes to the journey and having the courage to do that. And producer Craig Jackman is going to tell you more about this tune.
Well, Alan Menken and David Zippel are credited with writing this song. And according to Zippel, the song took 3 years from start to finish when it finally hit the big screen. Now, as the lead character in this movie tries to figure out why he doesn't fit in with his current family, Hercules is determined to find out who he really is. Now, it was originally sung by Roger Bart in the movie, but it was the single released by Michael Bolton that shot this song up to #1 on the adult contemporary charts in 1997. This is Go the Distance from the Disney movie Hercules, as sung by Paul Carganilla.
Yay!
Thank you, Craig. I have often dreamed of a far-off place where a hero's welcome would be waiting for me, where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be. I'll be there someday. I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong. Down an unknown road to embrace my fate. Though that road may wander, it will lead me to you. And 1,000 years would be worth the wait. It might take a lifetime, but somehow I'll see it through, and I won't look back. I can go the distance, and I'll stay on track. No, I won't accept defeat. It's an uphill slope, but I won't lose hope till I go the distance and my journey is complete. Like a shooting star, I will go the distance. I will search the world. I will face its harms. I don't care how far. I can go the distance till I find my hero's welcome waiting in your arms.
Yes, I love that.
And it's such a great song, you know, to wrap up this episode. I mean, we say yes and go the distance.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you to you four beautiful humans for being here, the ones that I'm looking at on the screen, Craig, Amanda, Mike, Nicole, and to all of the humans in the live chat with us here as we record, and to everybody listening to this podcast, making us the part of your day and spending time with us. This time on Earth is so precious, and we're so glad you said yes and pressed play on the podcast and spent a little time enjoying music and conversation, poetry here on COVE podcast. Thank you again to everybody who just has the open mind and open heart enough to and the courage to say yes. Thank you for saying yes and listening to this episode of COVE Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to leave a comment. If you're watching the video on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. And if you're listening to the podcast, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, rate, or review, depending on your preferred platform. All of it helps people find our new show. And if you've enjoyed several episodes of the show, please consider joining the COVE community on Patreon. There you can access monthly bonus request episodes, a recording session archive, receive a welcome letter in the mail signed by the whole Carganilla family, and more. Starting at as little as $1 a month. That's just 25 cents an episode. To explore all the exclusive tiers and perks, visit patreon.com/COVEpodcast. And join us next Tuesday when we get to meet author Sarah Barkoff, learn about her creative journey, and hear her read a slice of her new book, Emmy Gold is Totally Extraordinary. Don't miss it.
I put the coat on her.